الحمد لله رب العالمين والعاقبة للمتقين والصلاة والسلام على سيد المرسلين محمد وآله وأصحابه أجمعين أما بعد فقد قال الله تبارك وتعالى في القرآن المجيد أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم والعاديات ضبحا فالموريات قدحا فالمغيرات صبحا فأثرن به نقعا فوسطن به جمعا إن الإنسان لربه لكنود صدق الله العلي العظيم. I swear by the horses that run snorting. Dhabha is a term used for the sound that comes from the chest of the horses when they run quickly, breathing very laboriously. And Allah is taking an oath. He says, I swear by such horses. فَالْمُورِيَاتِ قَدْحًا. Then those that create sparks by striking their hoofs against the stones. Horses wearing iron shoes, running at that speed, hitting and bouncing their hoofs against stones and rocks, especially when it is dusk dark, very early in the morning. Allah swears by such war horses. فَالْمُغِيرَاتِ صُبْحًا. Then those that invade on mornings. It was a practice of Arabs that whenever they had to enter into a battle, they would not invade their enemies in the darkness of the night. They saw that to be a sign of cowardice. And the Prophet ﷺ, whenever he had to exit in a ghazwa, in a jihad, he would leave in the early morning, not at night, at dawn. فَأَثَرْنَ بِهِ نَقْعًا. And those horses, they raise the trail of dust therein. It's an hour when the wind is very calm. There is no sand and dust flying, but because of the horses running at high speed with such energy in the path of Allah, they would raise trails of dust, clouds of dust. فَوَسَطْنَ بِهِ جَمْعًا. And they enter all together in the center of the enemies without any fear. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is He who can swear by any object in the creation, from the smallest. He can swear by a mosquito. He swears by a pen. He can swear by whatever he sees it fit. But as for the creation, we are not allowed to swear by objects, not even by the Kaaba. We swear bi Rabbil Kaaba, by the Lord of the Kaaba. Greater than Allah there is none. So Allah swears by only those which are lesser than He is. Do not swear by anything other than by Allah, and do not swear in vain. After swearing by horses, war horses, in 4 different ayah, it opens up the appetite of any clever listener to want to know what is the subject matter, what is the Creator swearing by horses about. After swearing, now comes the muqsam alay, that thing which is being sworn about. Innal insana li rabbihi lakanud. Indeed, man is very ungrateful towards his Lord. In other places, Allah swore by different towns and cities, mountains. Then He said, لَقَدْ خَلَقْنَا الْإِنسَانَ فِي أَحْسَنِ تَقْوِيمٍ. Indeed, we have created man in the best composition. Then we cause him to descend to the lowest of the low. And comes after the exceptive clause. There is an exception except those who believe and perform virtuous actions. In one place we saw where Allah swore by time, all of man has gone astray except those who believe and they perform virtuous deeds. But here Allah is swearing by war horses, and all collectively, indeed man, all of them are very ungrateful towards his Lord. But there is no exceptive sentence. However, commentators have pointed out that prophets and awliya, friends of Allah, are indeed accepted from such evil quality. And there are many verses to support that. They are free from these evil practices. Subhanallah. When Allah swears by any object, there must be a connection, a nisbat or a nexus between the object sworn by and the subject matter. Here we see Allah is swearing by horses. Allah swore by places, and after swearing by places, He said, indeed we have created man in the best composition, meaning everything that takes a breath in this world, of all human beings, are the best. The highest intelligence, most attractive. And we are told in many places that everything Allah has created, as He mentioned in some parts, the skies He mentioned, the earth, the seas, the rivers and mountains. And after making mention of such, He said, Mata'allakum, speaking to man, all provision for you. In other parts we would learn where, having mentioned animals, He said, for you, for your benefit, you ride upon them. For your benefit, meat. They carry your loads from one place to the next. In that part in Surah Teen, swearing by places, man is the best. That is indeed a credit to man. We should be very honored. But when we look at surah, this particular surah, Adiyat, Allah has sworn by animals. And after swearing by animals, look what he is saying. Indeed, man is very ungrateful towards his Lord. That is unfortunate. The best he has created, given them all the faculties that any other creation would have loved to enjoy. Everything created in the universe for the benefit of man. They all engage themselves in the remembrance of Allah. Everything, animate and inanimate, that which we think are dead, they also glorify the name of Allah. Walakin la tafqahuna tasbihahum, but you are not able to understand their tasbih, their form of glorification. Everything engages in the dhikr of Allah. Everything worships Allah. Man was created the best. He was the one created for the purpose of worship. Man thinks that he is most intelligent, while everything else worships Allah. Man forgets Allah. And so he has mentioned, indeed, inna, surely man is very ungrateful towards his Lord. Kanud is the word used here to mean ungrateful. Imam Hassan Basri, he said, Kanud is one who only counts his trouble, his calamities and his problems in the world. Everywhere you hear him, you hear her, only talking about the problems he or she is faced with. Anytime, there are some people by nature, meet them January, June or December, anywhere. Meet them in the mosque, meet them in the market. The best place, the worst place. It's only about, you have to hear their problems. It's good to ask such a person, have you had any good time? Any good time? Do you enjoy any blessings from Allah? So this Imam Hassan Basri said, Kanud is that person who only remembers and talks about the bad times, calamities, and does not care to count and remember the values and the virtues, the ni'mat of Allah, Tabaraka wa Ta'ala, even though they are countless. Hadrat Abu Bakr Wasiti, he said, one who enjoys the favors of Allah, he's happy with them, but he spends the favors of Allah for sinful purposes, for the displeasure of Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala. And we seek refuge in Allah from such. Whereas Imam Tirmizi said, one who looks and recognizes the bounties, he is so engrossed and enjoying the boons and favors so much that he forgets the bounteous, the one who has bestowed all the bounties. That is Kanud according to his explanation. In one other verse, Allah has addressed man. Ya ayyuhal insan, O mankind, ma gharraka bi rabbikal kareem. What has caused you to become so negligent towards your Lord, who is so bountiful? So much He has given to you. You think there is anyone who can complete gratitude for one breath of oxygen? How much thanks are we going to offer to Allah for one night's peaceful rest? No matter how much we offer, we cannot ever complete shukr and hamd, gratitude to Almighty Allah. But Allah appreciates very much when a servant, he makes the effort at least to show that he is not ungrateful. Like we remember Hadrat Dawood alayhi salam, who was offered to give thanks. He gathered all the members of his family. Day and night, there was always someone engaged in some form of shukr. Some were standing, some were in ruku, some were in prostration, some were in supplication, some were just crying. And after all that, Prophet David alayhi salam said, "Oh my Lord, how could I ever complete thanks to you?" Allah revealed, he said, "Al-ana shakartani ya Dawood." Now only you have thanked me, O David, because you have that thought that you cannot ever complete thanks to me. Now you have thanked me. We cannot complete thanks and show gratitude to Almighty Allah for the many boons and favors He has bestowed upon us. وَإِنَّهُ عَلَى ذَلِكَ لَشَهِيدٌ. And indeed, man is a witness towards this fact, that he is ungrateful. Here in the world, he witnesses. Every human being who has some sense, no matter how much he does, he must have that feelings within himself. Oh, I cannot thank Allah. So much He has given to me, I cannot thank Him. I cannot finish thanking Him. And if it is speaking about the hereafter, then we are told that all the limbs of the body will testify when the lips and tongue will be motionless. The lips will be sealed, fingers, toes, knees, elbows. Every other part of the body will be given the faculty of speech. I was in him, yes, he did such and such, yawma kada wa kada, on such and such day. It is indeed frightening, but it is a fact. Allah has said, indeed, He is a witness towards this fact that He is ungrateful. Hearing it should awaken the spirits in us, that we should be more thankful. No matter how much we are doing, there is much more that we can do. Engage in thinking about so much Allah has given to us. Whatever you might be, a gardener, you are planting the seeds. You can only sow the seeds into the soil. That's all you can do. Who makes it grow? It's Allah. And even if it grows and the trees, the plants will bloom into a flowery plant, who makes it bears? There are many trees that flowers and they do not ever bear a thing. Even they flower, who would cause them to bear fruits? Sometimes they flower, they bear fruits, but they do not materialize. They fall off before they become matured. Who keeps them there? What are you going to use to stick the fruits onto the stems and keep them there? These all these are controlled by Allah. He said, do you make the plants grow, or we are the growers? Allah is talking to the farmers. In other words, this is urging one another that we be thankful, whatever be our field. Be thankful to Almighty Allah. He is the one who is most bountiful towards His servants. وَإِنَّهُ لِحُبِّ الْخَيْرِ لَشَدِيدٌ. And indeed, man is violent in the love of wealth. Do you understand how much you yourself as a man, a human being, here man means man and woman, as a human being, do you really understand how violent you are in your muhabbat, in your love for wealth? You may think you know, but get it clear. Allah is saying, And when Allah speaks, that's haqq. Man is indeed covetous, violent for the worldly gains, materialistic gains. My brothers and sisters, in previous khutbahs you were reminded, not only the Sharia of Islam has permitted a human being to acquire the wealth of the world. The Sharia has permitted and suggested to everyone, go out there and seek the bounties of Allah. It is not only a permission, but we see that the Sharia has made it obligatory to acquire the wealth of the world to the degree of his needs. We spoke about laziness causes poverty. We are reminded where Allah has called the believers out of their jobs for His remembrance. The prayer is over, go back and resume your position and seek the bounty of Allah. Connection between this khutbah and the previous one. The Sharia has encouraged and ordered Muslims to make their world stable. But we should not allow the love for the wealth and the possessions of the world, our houses, our business, our cars, our family, in any way to distract us from the remembrance of Allah. Allah is He who called out, Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu, O you who have iman, O reciters of kalima la ilaha illallah Muhammadur Rasulullah, la tulhikum amwalukum wala awladukum. Let not your wealth, your family, your children divert you from the remembrance of Allah. وَمَن يَفْعَلْ ذَلِكَ فَأُولَٰئِكَ هُمُ الْخَاسِرُونَ. Whoever allows wealth and family to cause him to fall short in his service towards his deen, his performance of prayer, his reading Quran, his attending the mosque. And I always say, let us not be like the Christians who attend their place of worship wahidan fil usbu, once per week. The call is given very often. Let us not be like them. Apart from Friday, a real lover of Allah and one who is inclined to his deen would surely visit the mosque some other time other than Jummah. What are we waiting for? What are we waiting for? There must be times when you come, you miss Maghrib, Isha, not Isha, Fajr, alright, you're busy. In the morning, you're busy in the evening, Zuhar, 5 times a day adhan is called. It's always open, there is always someone. Let's not just be present here once per week on a Friday. Make the effort. One of the people who will enjoy shade beneath the arsh of Allah on a day when there will be no other shade is a man, a person, qalbuhu, his heart, mu'allakum bil masajid, is tied, his heart is linked to the mosque. One cannot say that his heart is linked to the mosque and attends just Jummah. That will be wrong. That will be false. For your heart to be linked to the mosque, you've got to be visiting the house of Allah apart from a Friday. Make the effort. It's not late. You're still mobile. Do not wait until calls go out that the doctors have declared surgery, and then another call, he is no more. Then everybody, inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi rajiun. Do it before such happenings. Do it before that. My brothers and sisters, when a person has to answer the call of nature, he goes to answer the call of nature as a necessity, only because he has to do it. But he does not grow to love that it is not embedded in his heart. Who goes and sits in the washroom and just spends time for no reason? One visits there only because it has become a necessity. Likewise, if one is sick, he takes medication or maybe surgery as the case may warrant. But he doesn't grow to like doing that. Nobody likes to take medicine. In the like manner, we should not let the love of the wealth of this world be embedded into our hearts. Maulana Rumi rahmatullahi alayhi has put it in the best manner in a poem. As long as water remains below the boat sails on it safely. But when water begins to seep into the boat, it sinks. Like this. Live in the world. Do not let the world live into us. If we allow the world, the love of the world to enter into our hearts, that is like the water that enters into the boat that causes destruction. Live in the world. The more you understand Islam, the more you realize that Allah is pleased when you make your family happy, provide for them, provide for yourself. Allah wants very much that you reveal His bounty. He has blessed you, eat, drink, feed others. Clothe yourself and give others to wear. Provide a home and you give others shelter. Allah is happy with that. Wonderful. But the moment you allow the love of it to enter your heart and you become bakhil, you become stingy, you become a miser, and you allow your wealth to keep you away from your duties towards your deen, that becomes a problem. The wealth becomes cursed, it becomes evil. That is what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is reminding. And so my brothers and sisters, the verse ends, أَفَلَا يَعْلَمُ إِذَا بُعْثِرَ مَا فِي الْقُبُورِ. Does he not know that all that is contained in the grave will be overturned? All the bodies will be thrown out. A previous verse reminds us of that. And while the bodies will be flung out from their graves, what is inside the body, the contents of the hearts, will also be made known. And that's the meaning of وَحُسِّلَ مَا فِي الصُّدُورِ. And all that is contained in the hearts will be made known. إِنَّ رَبَّهُمْ. Indeed, dear Lord, يَوْمَئِذٍ خَبِيرٌ. On that day, will be fully acquainted with all the secret thoughts, all the hidden thoughts. Not that Allah doesn't know them here in the world. He knows everything. Before we think, He knows what we have. On that day, we have been reminded, none shall be able to hide away. My brothers and sisters, let us wake up. Let us wake up. Let it not just be, today is Friday, I have visited the mosque, I went for Jummah, the Imam gave a khutbah. It was good. Finished. What changes had there been at the khutbah? How many more people, how many of us are trying to be better in our preparations for that great day, when the fact remains that we are 1 week shorter in our lifespan than we were last Friday. When next week Friday comes, it will be again 1 week less. Time is moving on. Let's act now. Allah cries out, swearing by animals. And look what He has said. Man is indeed very ungrateful. If that is not a demotion for us, what can it be called? One place, Allah swears by places. Indeed, human beings are created to the best, in the best composition. Here in another place, swearing by animals. Man is ungrateful. Man should therefore look at horses What a man does for a horse, gives him a little fodder, a little water. That's all. And the fodder and the water he gives is not his, that's from Allah. And that's all he does for the horse. And look how subservient the horse has become. The horse is ready on your command to plunge in the middle of the enemies and obey you, treading such dangerous paths. Swords are being struck and the horses go forward. And all you have done for the horses, a little water, a little grass. Look how much Allah has given to us. Look how much, and we are smarter than horses. We have been created in the best composition. Take note of it. That's why Allah has sworn by the horses. May Allah bless and reward each and every one of us. May this bring sense and benefit to me and to you. Barakallahu lana wa lakum fil Qur'anil azim. ونفعنا وإياكم بالآيات وذكر الحكيم